Morning, everybody. Welcome in. I see some smiling faces, bright and early. Welcome. It is happy Friday. Happy Friday. That's right. Give me some thumbs. Welcome in. Virtual open house. Thank you guys so much for logging in. We're going to spend a couple of minutes this morning talking about our leadership coaching certification program. And so before I get into too many details, I want to introduce a few people to you. First and foremost, I have to introduce the queen. I have to introduce the most important person here. Dr. Dorothy is in the room. I can see her, my sister. Do you have any words of encouragement for anyone this morning? I just want to hear your voice.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us. Yes, Ryan is my brother, but so is my team here. I have an
Yeah,
amazing team and I am thankful. But so one thing I will say is this. All go through life in different stages and in different seasons, and do not be deceived. Life is not a straight line. It's like this, and then it's like that, and it's like this, and it's like that. But no matter what it feels for you now, this course will get you right in the middle. So I encourage you, take that bold step. And at the end of it, you will not forget what I said from the beginning, that it will be worth your time. Thank you for letting me share some brief remarks. I yield
for
back
sure.
to you, Ryan.
Excellent, excellent. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the way this is set up, the university at Buffalo has its business school, the School of Management. And inside of the School of Management is a wonderful center. Just went through a rebrand, previously known as Chloe. We are now known as the Center for Leadership and Global Impact. And there's this idea that we can learn locally and think globally. And we want to change the way leaders at home think about their impact in the world. And so you guys are all beneficiaries of what the university is doing to reach its fingertips out into other parts of the world. And this is one of those inaugural programs. This is one of those programs that's going to help set the tone for what it means to be a part of the CLGI family. Now, here's the thing that I want you guys to know is none of this is possible with me by myself. Dr. Dorothy Siwa Asama is the face and she is the head, but there are many fingers and folks and components who are part of this. And so on the call, you're going to see Naomi, you're going to see Maddie, you're going to see Basil. Those are all team members through the university who help to support this program. They support me because I've got three screens up as it is right now, and there are more buttons to press than I've got hands to hold. So they help set things up like that in the background. Thank you guys for your time. And also, I've got some of my team from my company on. I know I saw Allison. I'm not sure if Cheyenne is on, but I've got two of my team members who are also on. And this is just a support ecosystem that we have for this. But listen, I'm gonna make sure that we jump right into the meat because you guys came in here for conflict management. And so let me go ahead and do a screen share real quick, and we will get started with this presentation. Excellent. Okay. So, conflict management certification program. Thank you all so much for taking your time this morning to sit with me and learn about this. I am in my habitat. This is my comfortable spot. We are in Atlanta, Georgia, and I have the distinct privilege of teaching and leading this program through the University at Buffalo. It's one of those great benefits. That's right, ATL. I see y'all. It's one of these great benefits of being able to teach in a remote space. And so we are here in my global headquarters. I can call it that now because we've got clients all over the globe in my studio space. And this is where I'm going to be teaching this program from. We're going to be doing everything virtual. So no matter where you are in the world, we're going to be able to connect just like this. So today we're going to talk a little bit about myself. I'll just give you guys a little bit of a rundown of who I am and why I'm potentially qualified to teach this program, maybe just a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about conflict management, what it is and why it's necessary, the whys behind it, why this program and why now. We'll go over the format of the program and then we'll leave some time at the end to ask questions. Okay. So here's a little bit about me. Oh, first of all, shout out to Basil who put the first part of this presentation together for me because I've got way too many things going on. So thank you for getting the format of this set up for me. So my background is quite diverse. For those of you who are not familiar with me and the work that I've done, I am a conflict strategist, and I got into this work by nature through my law enforcement career. So I'm a former hostage negotiator, special victims detective, burglary detective, special operations, gang intelligence officer, forensic investigator. If there was a TV show about it, I typically tell people I've done it at some point in my career. Crisis intervention, critical incident stress management. A major part of my career was interviews, interrogations, and negotiations. My job was to step into hard conversations and help people get honest with themselves about themselves so that they could deal with the consequences of bad behavior, but actually find a path forward. So that's what I did in the law enforcement space. Left law enforcement, I went into ministry. Believe it or not, I feel like ministry and law enforcement are almost identical jobs. You serve and you protect. We're just doing it a little bit differently. And so it was a great corollary for me. And I spent a number of years as an executive pastor, more so on the administrative operational side. And I transitioned out of there. I worked on Georgia's human trafficking. No, that's wrong. It's Georgia's Sexual Assault Response Team State Expert Committee, Tennessee's Human Trafficking Advisory Council, and then I went on to serve as the executive director of an anti-human trafficking organization. So when you think about all the work that I've done, from negotiations and interrogations to the legal side, legislation and writing bills and working with our state governments and ambassadors from DC, working in the ministry space, I can tell you that for the last 20 some odd years, I have gotten really good at helping other people navigate conflict. And so all of those years of lived experience are poured into this program. And my goal here is not to just teach you how to solve problems with other people. It's honestly to teach you how to solve problems with yourself. Because when you are well, when you are healthy, when you are competent and emotionally intelligent, you get to step into some hard places and find some easy landing spaces for you and for the people you lead. So I've done some things. I'm not going to go over this whole list, but I will tell you from an academic standpoint, my stomping ground is Purdue University. That's where I got my master's and my graduate certificate. I've taught previously at Oglethorpe University as an adjunct professor there. I contribute to coursework at Wheaton University and I'm sorry, Wheaton College and Yale University through their Berkeley Seminary. And then for the last 2 years, I've taught here at UB with my partner Marcia King, who teaches the leadership coaching certification program in this same center. And so now this is a cousin program to what Marcia has set up on the other side. So I stepped out of leadership coaching, and now I'm in the conflict management space, and you all are beneficiaries of that. So let's talk about the cost. Here's the why. Here's the why. If you are a leader or an emerging leader at work right now and you're dealing with conflict at any level, can you just put a one in the chat? I'm curious to know if I'm by myself. If anybody else is experiencing conflict in the workplace, put a one in the chat so that I know I'm not talking to me. Okay, that's what I thought. I assumed that other people were dealing with some stuff. Okay. In my company, which is called Conflictish, we refer to this stuff as ish. Well, all the ish that we experience, foolishness and childishness and tarnished rapport, diminished productivity, hellish attitudes, squeamish conversations, all of this ish. And a lot of us are dealing with this on a daily basis. And beyond that, what I tell people is that we are dealing with conflict issues, all the ish you do that contributes to conflict, tension, and misunderstanding, which means it's not just the people around you. Some of us are the problem. So look at your screen and find somebody else in one of the boxes and say, yeah, that person's a problem for sure. So this isn't just about learning how to fix other people, it's about fixing ourselves. And here's what I can tell you, the impact in our organizations is great. $359 billion a year in lost productivity is what this costs us. $359 billion in lost productivity. And that's because 4 to 6 hours a week, we're spending it navigating conflict. People take sick leave and vacation time just to avoid people in the office. Okay. So if you're a people leader and you're dealing with constant call outs, if you're dealing with people who don't show up on time, people who leave early, people who don't want to do more than minimum, it's all tied to conflict. And there are theories that talk about the impact that conflict has on us and our organizations. So this is a big, big deal. And here's what I'll tell you. Many people think that this is normal. We've accepted the dysfunction as normal. And even bigger than that, conflict has a lot of different faces. So if you think about the kinds of conflict we're dealing with in the workplace, we're dealing with tension between us because we've got divergent personalities. We have clashing values, different value systems, different belief systems, different priorities. There's competition for resources, all sorts of things. That's normal. But I'm going to tell you what's different here in 2025 is that most of us are also experiencing a heightened form of conflict. The type of conflict that is now perpetuated by the fact that we are increasingly more culturally diverse and generationally diverse. So all my old heads in the room, my Gen Xers and baby boomers are probably chomping at the bit to complain about their millennial or Gen Z or Gen Alpha counterparts who are coming into the workforce because we don't see the world the same way. We have different needs, different values, different expectations. We define loyalty differently. We define work-life balance differently. That leads to even deeper conflict. So we're here to talk about not just tension, but culturally diverse conflict, generationally diverse conflict. What happens when you've got conflict with a team member who lives in another country, speaks another language, high context versus low context? It's all in there. So it costs us all a lot. And let me tell you why this program is unique. There are a couple of different institutions that teach conflict and conflict management, conflict resolution, conflict or high stakes negotiation. Here's why this program is a little different. Most most of my counterparts and peers in the conflict space teach conflict resolution skills from an interpersonal space. We're teaching you how to influence and persuade other people to do things the way you want them to do it. Ryan, how do I talk to another person and get them to do XYZ? How do I become more influential, more persuasive? That's typically what we want to deal with. This program is a little different. This is built for today's global and hybrid workplace, which means it's not just focused on other people, it's also focused on us as individuals from a conflict management standpoint. Here's the difference between conflict resolution and conflict management. Conflict resolution is an aspect of the conflict management process and framework. There's something called an integrated conflict management system. Resolution is a part of it, but how many of us know that some conflicts can't be resolved? Some relationships can't be mended. So, what do you do when resolution isn't on the table? We have to understand conflict management all the way from grievance to consequential practices where someone's terminated or there may be some sort of legal action. So from the beginning to end is your integrated conflict management system. Who hears a complaint, who acts on a complaint, who investigates a complaint, who enacts punishment on certain complaints, who identifies these challenges in the organization in the first place. So we're taking this broad approach. And this is really, really necessary because in today's global workforce, it looks different. We sit in different seats in different countries and different places with different languages and different expectations. So, for those of us who are operating in virtual, multicultural, multi-generational, and globally distributed teams, this is for you. This is for you. Whether you are a business owner or a business leader, if you've got folks in your ecosystem, even if you live in the same country, you didn't grow up in the same places. You don't have the same lived experiences, which means you don't see the world the same way. And your appetite for conflict will be different. So your approach has to be unique. I want to help you build what I call conflict optimization. This is my language. We've created it here, but I believe in it. Conflict optimization is your ability to do a lot of things at the same time, at the right time, in real time. I want you to think about this. You can be great at speaking, but not good at listening. You can be great at speaking, great at listening, and have poor body language. You're not going to be effective in conflict. Great at speaking, great at listening, great body language, poor problem solver. You're not going to be good in conflict, right? So conflict management is all about doing all of those things at the same time, in real time, at the right time. That's conflict optimization. Okay. So that's what we're working towards. It's your ability to adapt to your audience. High context versus low context, masculinity versus femininity complexes, power distance, and how all of these things play into how I solve a problem with someone who might be 50 years old in an Asian country versus someone who's 25 years old in the US. It's all about adaptability. Okay. So I want you to expand your understanding of what this program is. I'm going to challenge you I'm going to challenge your worldview. This is different. This is not listening to me talk for 6 weeks about how to be nice in the boardroom. We're bigger than that. Okay. Two, rooted in culture, identity, and generational dynamics. We've kind of made this point, but I want you to really understand here's the difference. We're going to have people from around the world in this program. You're going to be able to connect with your peers who are sitting in different seats, who see the world differently. And that's going to help you with your growth and your progression as a leader. Most of us are probably not comfortable where we're at. A lot of us probably have goals, different places we want to get to. And I want to help you get there. We're going to focus on intrapersonal and interpersonal conflicts. So throughout the program, we're going to be talking about not just what you need to do for others, but what you need to be doing for yourself. Because I want to help you get honest with yourself about yourself and identify your conflict issues too. Okay. So these are some of the whys for this program. This program is set up to be a whole, how do I want to say this? I don't want to say holistic, but a whole person, whole organization conflict management approach, not just other people, but you too. So here are some benefits for you. Here's why you should do this. One, intrapersonal mastery. One of the things that we know about conflict is a lot of people don't like it. 89% of people avoid conflict like the plague. And so if you're one of those people who is conflict averse, just know you're in good company. You're in good company. In fact, let's do a quick poll. I just want to see this. Not an actual poll, Basil. We'll just kind of keep it simple because I like the chat thing. If you are someone you would say, you know what, Ryan, I'm really, really conflict avoidant. I don't even like hard conversations. I would rather for the problem to just disappear. You're a conflict avoidant. The thought of conflict makes your skin crawl. Put a 1 in the chat. If you're problematic, if you're the person who likes a fight, doesn't matter, catch me outside, hands up high. I want you to put a 2 in the chat so I can see who I'm talking to. Conflict avoidant, put a 1. Conflict non-avoidant, put a 2. I want to see who the fighters are in the room. There's always a 3. There's always somebody who says, it depends, Ryan. Depends on what I'm saying, what I'm doing. I'm a little bit of both. It's situational. I get it. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I'll say. Here's what I've learned. Here's what I've learned as a hostage negotiator. I can give you skills for conflict management, but if you are dysregulated and you can't handle yourself under pressure, you won't be able to use the skills. Does that make sense? Like I can teach you how to do the right thing, but if you don't have a solid foundation, you're not going to be able to do anything. It's like giving somebody a hammer with no hands. You can't swing it. Okay. So I want to give you hands first. That's why we have an intrapersonal focus on this program. I'm going to help equip you as a person, build your emotional intelligence, build your conflict competence. We're going to talk about you first. Then we're going to talk about how to deploy skills. Okay. So that's number 1. Number 2, future-proof leadership. Okay. At the top of this year, there was a great report that came out. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to Google it. It's called the Future of Jobs Report. This is a 209-page document. It could be longer than that. But what it does is it tells you where the country and where the world is going in terms of work, the workforce, the global workforce. And it posits what in the next 5 years, what the most important skills are going to be and what industry changes we're going to experience. I can tell you over 160 of those pages, at least, are dedicated to technology and artificial intelligence. Generative AI, AI agents, the whole document talks about how AI is changing the world. But here's what was most interesting. Starting around page 33 of this 200 and something plus page document, it tells you what the most desirable skills are for the future leaders of tomorrow. And you would think it was technical. You would think it was artificial intelligence. You would think it was systems and network. It's not. 8 of the top 10 desired skills for the leaders of tomorrow are soft skills. Problem solving, relationship management, communication ability. Because here's what we know. Even when technology works, if people can't work it well, it won't matter. So you as a leader, if you want to stand out, I know there's a lot of emphasis these days about becoming really tech savvy in the artificial intelligence space. Build your knowledge. I'm not saying not to do that. You have to do that, right? AI is the new word processor. You guys remember when we went from typewriters to Microsoft Word and now it's everywhere? It's one of those basic job functions where you can't get a job if you don't know Word or Excel or PowerPoint. AI is the new word processor. You got to be able to do it. But what do we know about people who can come into the workforce and type and do a couple of spreadsheets? If they've got poor people skills, they don't last. Why? We hire people for competency, but we retain people for character. We hire you because of what you can do. We keep you because of what you do for us. Okay. So these are soft skills for hard moments. That's what we're teaching in this program. We're going to future proof you as a leader because if you can have hard conversations and solve problems with people, you're going to be able to help other people help themselves. Okay. Number three, accelerated career growth. Soft skills have been demonstrated to help people get further and go faster in their career trajectory. It's the people who can communicate, the people who can connect, people who can integrate, people who can problem solve. Okay. Number three, increase earning potential. We know people with high soft skills earn more money over their working lifetime. Okay. So if you're in a position you want to get higher, if you're not making enough money, if you're concerned about your future, even if you're an older person who's concerned about this young new energy coming into the workforce with all of these technical skills, I'm going to tell you, once the varnish goes away, once the shiny stuff goes away, those relationships or those technical skills are going to have to be massaged by someone with some common sense and emotional intelligence. Okay. So you have to understand these things, right? So these are the benefits for you. So here's an overview of the program. This is a 6-week micro credential. And what this means is when you complete this program, you're going to get a micro credential through the university, not through Conflictish. It's facilitated by me, but this is in partnership with the Center for Leadership and Global Impact. There are a lot of things that you can do online, a lot of courses you can take, but they don't have any standing, right? We're talking about one of, if not the best business schools in the state of New York for the state system. Okay. I was up in Buffalo recently with my sister Dorothy and with the dean of the school talking about not just what this program looks like today, but what it's going to look like in the future. Okay. When you walk into a room, you want to add this to your resume, you go into the workforce and say, hey, I got my conflict management certification through the University of Buffalo's School of Management through the Center of Leadership and Global Impact with a global cohort of leaders from around the world. Guys, that has standing. Okay. So I want you to understand this is one of those ways we can set ourselves apart. Okay. So this is a 6-week micro credential. We're going to meet once a week for 6 weeks. And we're going to be working towards a problem of practice. So this isn't just the theory, right? You know, if you go to school, the progression from your undergraduate to graduate to doctoral programs, right? You're understanding theory at one level, you're applying theory at the next level, and then you're creating theory at the highest level, right? We're at this level where we're going to understand it and then we're going to apply it. I'm going to give you theory on conflict, and then you're going to go apply it in your own workplace. We're going to teach you how to observe and to identify conflict management issues in your organization. You're going to put this together in a problem of practice. And that's what's going to help you not just understand these concepts, but deploy them because we're older. Most of us are older. And I'll tell you what we know about adult learning is I can teach you something, but if you don't immediately put it into practice, you're going to forget it. So the program is designed to give you information and then give you an opportunity to apply it. Okay. And by the end, you will have developed a conflict strategy plan that you can implement. Now, this is a generic how you approach conflict moving forward for your organization. And you get to choose. I'm not going to be choosing your topic for you. You get to choose what the issue is. It can be an interpersonal issue. It can be a logistics issue. It can be a cultural issue, a language barrier. We'll talk through what your POP should be, but ultimately you get to choose a problem to work on in your organization. Some of our learning objectives are we're going to explain how culture shapes conflict expression and resolution. Depending on where you live in the world, you express yourself through conflict differently. We're going to distinguish cultural communication styles, right? There's direct and indirect. Context is very, very important for a lot of different cultures. Some cultures are naturally silent. Okay. That doesn't mean they don't have anything to say. Some cultures use collaborative overlap, which means I feel like we're having a good conversation if I'm cutting you off every couple of seconds. So we need to know these communicative dynamics. We need to understand these cultural dynamics that inform the way people show up in conversations so we don't misinterpret conflict. Okay. We're going to talk about analyzing power and hierarchy. So we'll do things like Hofstede's theories of insights, cultural insights. So we'll look at the 6 different dimensions of culture. Anthropologically, we're going to understand the anthropology of conflict. So we understand how people and groups navigate conflict. We'll talk about emotional intelligence, managing personal reactions, using frameworks to interpret behavior and bridge misunderstandings. And we'll learn to facilitate responsive conversations for low-level mediation. So you're not just going to be able to solve problems within yourself, but you'll be able to step into a conversation or a tension with someone else and help them resolve it too. Okay. Here's our current program outline. And listen, let me just say this. I know a lot of folks have probably asked questions about why those days, why these times. Please understand, I wrestled with this a lot. I think I probably had Dorothy and Maddie and Basil like, "Oh, what's going on, Ryan? What are we doing? What are we doing here?" This is a really hard decision to make, class, because we've got so many people in different places. We saw it in the beginning introduction where people are sharing where they're from Canada to Jamaica to Africa. We've got people from around the world, and trying to find a time that works for everybody is just really, really difficult. So I had to do what I could for this first one, and then we're going to evaluate feedback and responsiveness, and hopefully find times that work. Maybe a little bit better if this doesn't work after this iteration. But for right now, we're going to be doing this from 7 to 9 a.m. on was it Fridays? I think these are all Fridays. Is that accurate, Maddie? Yeah, Fridays, starting January 16th. Okay. And there's a syllabus that I'm about 95% done with. And so when the syllabus is done, for those of you who register, you'll get the syllabus. There will be some required reading. It's Eastern time. I'm sorry. Yes, Eastern time. Yep. I'm in Atlanta, so you guys you're stuck with my time. What works? What works for me? So there'll be some required reading, a couple of books and things that I want you to get. Shameless plug, one of the books will be mine, How to Untie a Balloon, A Negotiator's Guide to Avoid Popping Under Pressure. This is your interpersonal conflict medicine. And then we'll look at things like culture mapping from Erin Meyer and how she talks about culture and collaborative overlapping and communication and things like that. So those are the tentative dates that we'll have from the program. That's not going to change. Those dates and times are set for this particular program. Okay. I see questions coming in. I can't see them all right now, so we'll have time for questions here shortly. And then what I'll do is I'll ask Basil to kind of go through and just kind of highlight the questions that make the most sense so we can get those answered here in a second. Okay, so the format's going to be like this. We're going to come in, we're going to do some interactive lectures. So for the first part of class, it's going to be me having conversations with you all. Then we'll do a series of breakouts where you get to go into small groups, work on some of these challenges together through group discussions and peer practice. And then we'll come back together and do work before we give you your assignment for the week. Sometimes I think what happens with adult learners is we get concerned about how much time am I going to have to invest in this program. Here's what I want you to understand. This is not homework intensive. It's investigative. So this is less about you filling out a bunch of papers and writing assignments. It's more about you taking the time to be intentional about going into your workplace and investigating these things, opening your eye to see these things. So when you come back to class, you have substantive conversations with your peers about, hey, you know what? We talked about these power distance dynamics. We talked about these hierarchical challenges within organizations, or I saw a little uncertainty avoidance in my organization at a meeting this week. We're going to give you a lens for it, but what you bring back to class is going to help you get more out of it. So I don't want you to feel like you're going to have to spend 10 hours a week on this. Okay. But there will be some time outside of class time. I would expect that you probably want to spend a good 2 to 3 hours a week outside of the classroom thinking about some of these things and documenting your observations and your growth. Okay. And I think, are we close to? Oh yeah, so your POP. We'll talk more about this in class. I'm not gonna get too much into the problem of practice. Just know you're gonna have a capstone. It's a big part of why this class is gonna work. It's your application, and we'll talk more about this in detail in the program. So we're at the point now where we get to answer questions. And so here's what I'll encourage you. If you're sitting here and you're saying, "Man, I think this is for me," let me convince you this is for you. I'll be as bold to say, folks, this is for everybody. One of the things that I do in my practice is I work with leaders at the highest level, Fortune 50 companies around the globe, global leaders, people who have been doing leadership for 5 minutes, people have been doing it for 50 years. And if I can tell you one thing, it doesn't matter how smart they are. It doesn't matter how much money they have. It doesn't matter how prominent their businesses are or how they're publicly traded on the S&P. It doesn't matter. Everybody has the same problem when it comes down to emotional intelligence and people skills. We struggle with conflict. The leaders who stand out, the ones who are doing really, really well, are those who are able to solve problems well. And I've said this several different times. I'm going to say it again. Leadership at its core is problem solving. And leaders who can't solve problems are their organization's biggest problem. So whether you're the problem, your team is the problem, there are systemic problems in your organization, learning how to solve problems more effectively is what we all need to be more effective in our jobs. Okay? So if that's you, you can register today. Your registration is actually an application process. We don't just let anybody in here. Okay, it's not too strict and stringent, but we do want to make sure that it's a good fit because I want you to learn from people who are also going to teach you through experience. Okay, so what's going to happen is when you apply, Dr. Dorothy and Maddie and some of the team members, they will evaluate those applications. And once we make sure that you just got some basic requirements, you'll be welcomed into the program, and then you can submit your payment for the program, and it will set you up on a path to success to meet with me starting January 16th. Okay, if in the meantime you've got questions, you can email me for more, I think, practical questions about the course itself. If there are technical or financial questions about the program, you want to direct those towards the Buffalo email here for the School of Management. So you've got those two emails there. One is direct to me. Shame, I'm just going to be ahead and say this. If it comes to me, it's going to go to Allison. Allison's on the call. Allison's going to be fielding those calls. And then I believe Maddie or Basil will be receiving the other ones. So depending on what question you have, and if you email the wrong one, we'll put you in contact with the right people. Okay. So let's go ahead and pause there. I'm happy to answer questions. I know a lot have come through, so I'm going to stop my screen share here. And boom. Let's talk about it. What questions do we have?
I have a comment and a response. I did see somebody who asked for scholarship and I responded to the person privately. But at this moment, right now, on November 21st, we do not. However, the team and I will brainstorm offline and we will announce it if there is. But at this moment, we do not have scholarships. Thank you.
We received a few questions. Are there any opportunities to practice the skills with our cohort or professors?
Yeah, so a part of your breakouts will be so there'll be informational on the front end, and then you'll go into breakouts and we'll practice some of these things. So I'll give you an example. Maybe we'll talk through like a three-part assertion. A three-part assertion is a framework for having hard conversations without assigning blame, right? It's this idea that when I felt which cause. It's a way we can have a non-accusatory conversation with people. We'll give you that framework. You'll practice a framework like that inside of your group sessions. We might have a moment where we're talking about giving exceptional feedback or asking powerful questions, and we'll have an opportunity to do those things too. So all of this is designed around your ability to practice with your peers. Okay, for sure. Great question.
We had another question. I'm currently in between jobs. How do you envision the real world problem of practice?
So there's a couple of things you can do. One, you can consider what your past challenges were in a workplace that might have already been resolved, but you can evaluate past challenges in a workplace. You can also evaluate industry known practice challenges. So, for example, I've got a lot of folks who are in high level consulting, or they are in tier one legal professions, working with really, really powerful law firms. Those industries are known to be rife with the same types of conflict. So, if you don't have a specific challenge in a workplace that you're dealing with, feel free to evaluate industry or past conflict challenges for sure.
Okay. We had a few questions about deadline. The deadline for application is January 5th. And the deadline for payment is 1 day before the course begins. And then we had another question, is the program aligned or mapped to your recent book?
It is not. So how to untie a balloon is really, it's deep into interpersonal conflict management. So it's not mapped to the first steps model of feelings, interests, relationships, situations, and tolls. However, I'm the one teaching the course, and this book is a part of me. So you're going to get all of this drip through the course anyway. And it's going to be expanded. So if you're looking for like a direct complement to the book, that's not what this is going to be. If you're looking for something that takes the book and then elevates it to an interpersonal, external context, you're going to get that here.
Okay, and then we have someone raising their hand. Kimberly, if you want to come off mute.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm a SUNY graduate, so I'm super proud of the university in this course. I've been stalking you online. I plan to attend this course. I work in surgery, and there's lots of little conflicts to manage all day long. However, the work hours, I won't be able to do like this first live thing because I'll be working at that time. But is there going to be in the future or a way that I still can take the course, but I can't make like an hour or two of, I can't do that time frame every week, but I want to take the course. So what about for online people or people that can't be there live? Will it be recorded? Will you have an alternate way in the future, or what do you
Yes.
think?
So great question, Kim. So the whole course is virtual. So this is not live. So this is virtual for everyone. And then what we're going to be exploring, like I was mentioning, after we finish this first cohort, this is not a one and done. I don't have dates for the next one, but we will have additional courses throughout the year. So we'll do the first one, we'll evaluate, make adjustments and changes, and we'll run another one. And one of the things that we'll be evaluating is the time. And if there are alternative times, we talked about even potentially running two at the same time at different times. The limiting factor there is 90% of my revenue is generated from traveling and speaking. So it's hard for me to have that kind of time, but we're working on a strategy for that. So the next one might not be at this time. It may be at a time that's more agreeable for some, but then exclusive to others. But we'll certainly have other time opportunities that we're going to be considering.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Do we have any other? Oh, we have one more question. Can you elaborate on the certification through the university? Is it an actual certification through the school that can be validated for work reimbursement? So yes, I can talk a little bit about this. This is one of our micro credentials. We'll get that up on the website soon, but it is through the UB Office for Micro Credentials, and we will work with your employer to get it validated if you need reimbursement. We're happy to write a letter, whatever you need. And also just to highlight that this is a synchronous and live course. So just so everyone knows. Do we have any other questions?
Okay. Well, it looks like, I guess we're done there. You can either put a hand up or throw something in the comments before we kind of wrap it up. I don't have anything else right now. Like I said, there are email addresses if you want to email us for questions offline. For those of you who are ready to go, application is in the chat. Maddie just posted it. And I'm really looking forward to connecting with you all. The last few courses that we've done here have been phenomenal. We've had folks from the Middle East, we've had folks from Europe, and the commitment that we've seen from folks to come to these programs. I mean, some people in parts of the world are logging in at 3:00 in the morning, and that is such a commitment. And I love that. I love that. So listen, it is not lost on me that this is a sacrifice for many of you, but I want you to reframe your thinking. For those of us who are like, man, this is really, really tough. Sacrifice is for one of those things where we're giving something up with nothing in return. This is investment. Okay. Investment is when you spend a little time on the front end, you get a lot on the back end. You're going to get a lot on the back end of this investment. Okay. Yes, there's a financial investment. There's a time investment. There's an academic and a psychological investment. But what you're going to be able to do with this is going to supercharge you. Okay. So not lost on us. That's just a little bit of the empathy I wanted to put out there for those of you who are saying, hey, I'm going to dedicate myself to this thing. I appreciate you. I know that's not easy as adult learners with families and careers, but it'll definitely be worth it. I'll do everything in my power to make sure it's worth it for you.
Mhm.
All right.
I do want to say something, Ryan, and it's a comment that is being dropped in the chat by Gerald, so I just want to call it out. Ryan has been instrumental for my professional growth and interactions with personal conflict. I have advised numerous associates to Ryan for growth. Thank you, Gerald, for sharing.
I received that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you don't know the story, we have nearly 1 million followers on social media: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. So if you are someone who says, "Man, I'm a glutton for punishment. I love this conversation on conflict," you can get micro doses of lessons every single day on social media. Here's what I tell people. Here's the difference. My social media videos are about 90 seconds to 2 minutes long. It's informational. When you step into courses with me, it's transformational. There's a gap between information and transformation, and that language is implementation. My job is to help you implement what you've been informed on. So for those of you who say, I heard a good thing and that's good enough, implementation leads to transformation, not information. And so for those of you who are ready to do something with the work, I'm here for you. Okay. Idris, that would be a question for Allison. If you're curious about something offline, that would send that to Allison at conflictish.com. Allison, if you're still on, could you throw your email in the chat so that they have that, and they would be able to do that for you. I'm sorry, I got my chat over here and you guys are over here. So, okay, listen, I want to honor time. 9:45, I think, was the end for this. Is that correct? Okay, I want to honor time. You guys are absolutely blessed because I never finish everything on time. I love to chat. It's the pastor in me. I won't pass a tithe bucket or proselytize, but I've got so much I want to share. I'm so proud of me for finishing on time. So thank you guys so much for taking the time. Please get back to work. Have a blessed weekend. Enjoy yourself. And I'm really looking forward to connecting with you all soon. I'll stick on for another couple of minutes if anybody has a question or something like that. But everyone else, you are free to leave. I'll see you in January.